Thanks, Butch, for that nice introduction.
Speak closer to the mic.
And thanks so much for all your hard work with the Tea Party in Northern Virginia, and thank you all for coming out. It is so great to see everybody here on this beautiful day.
Yeah.
Woo! What a difference from the day of the umbrella. You know, every time I see Butch, we talk about him holding the umbrella that rainy April 15th 1 year ago. But honestly, I can't think of a better way to mark tax day than with a Tea Party. Okay, so government is taking not only our money, the money of babies not yet even born, racking up all this debt that we can't sustain, especially since all their high taxes and wealth redistribution schemes just crush the prosperity that we need to build to get back on our feet. That's not the only reason why we're here, is it? This isn't just about money. This isn't just about financial prosperity. As I wrote in my book, tax reform is a moral issue. George Bernard Shaw famously said that a government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always count on the support of Paul. Well, sure, that's true if Paul is a man of low character, if he's a man of little virtue, if he isn't offended by Big Brother's paternalism. And Big Brother is more likely to get away with robbing Peter if Peter isn't sure about his own rights, or if he doesn't understand the moral hazards of wealth redistribution. Or if he simply is hopeless, not thinking that he and other producers like him can get together either at the ballot box or, like us right now, through persuasive argument, to convince people that we need tax reform, we need spending reform, we need government reform. And that's what our so-called leaders are counting on, aren't they? They're sort of counting on the support of Paul, and they're counting on the ignorance or the ineffectiveness of Peter. And we saw this, when Barack Obama was going around the country touting his health care plan. And every time he talked about it, opposition got higher. And he just kept saying, oh, no, 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 no. Once it passes, you'll see how great it is. Once you see how wonderful it is to be coddled by your betters, you'll be all for this. Well, the morning it passed, Rasmussen had opposition at 54%. And the poll I saw yesterday has opposition at 58%. The thing's passed. People are still against it more and more. Harry Reid's in trouble in Nevada because of it. He's going around. He's saying well, people like the tax reform, the health care reform plan. Like, oh, really? Well, I don't know who you're talking to, but it's not the people I'm talking to, not the people here, not the people on the Hill, not the people who are paying the taxes, not the people who are worried about the kind of health care they're going to get, their kids are going to get. We saw the same thing during the bailout fight, a year and a half ago, where, Bush and Paulson are going around saying, oh, the sky is falling, we don't have $700 billion that, by the way, we don't have, or, we're all going to be eating bread crusts. I used to get invited to White House conference calls. This was actually the last one I ever got all the way through. So on this White House conference call, when the White House was trying to push the bailout, and the guy who was speaking for the White House was raising this doomsday scenario about how without a bailout, people won't be able to borrow money for houses, cars, and educations, and flat-screen TVs. Yes, he actually said flat-screen TVs. We're supposed to fork over $700 billion so that people can keep buying TVs they can't afford on credit. This is nuts. But it passed. It passed over our objections. So, what can we do? How can we make sure that this doesn't keep on happening? Well, I think we need to reclaim the moral high ground in the battle over wealth redistribution, over tax reform, over profligate fiscal spending. This is a moral issue. This is bad for our country. It's bad for our children, and we need to stop it. So how do we do that? Well, start, educate ourselves. How do you do that? Read books. I got a great book I can recommend. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your family. Look around at what's happening. me. Pay attention. See, does this really make sense? Healthcare reform, government is just going to tell the insurance companies they have to give me insurance. They're going to tell me I have to buy it, and somehow that's going to make costs go down and care get better. Come on, that doesn't pass the straight face test. And when you've educated yourself, educate the people around you. And how do you do that? Well, it depends on what you're good at. The market economy. Y'all remember the market economy, right? It's the single best supplier of human material needs. In the market economy, there's this thing called comparative advantage. Basically what it means is you do what you can do better than somebody else without using up too much resources. That's oversimplified, but that's basically what it means. So, what are you good at? Are you good at organizing things like Butch? Can you organize rallies like this, or protests? Visit your legislators or your supervisors when they're getting ready to raise your taxes for some muddle-headed program again? Are you a good writer? Can you write letters to the editor? Write op-eds for your local paper. Write a blog. I had a blog for a while. It's a lot of fun. Are you good at hospitality? Can you have a book club? Can you, have people come in, once a month? Read a book, read a classic of American history, market economics, and then talk about it. Just talk to people one-on-one, call in radio shows, whatever you're good at, whatever you can do to help others understand what you're learning. This is a lifelong process. It's not like you suddenly, understand everything there is to understand about Republican government philosophy, market economics, and public policy. It's a continual process of educating yourself and educating those around you. You know who else you need to educate?